And he had been promised, I'm sure you're going to sing and write and play your own songs. Well, they lied.
Hey everyone, I'm Katie Darrell, and now listen, Micky Dolenz of the Monkees is with me. What the what? Dude, I'm so lucky today to chat with you.
Wow, well, thank you. What a great intro. Great to be here. Very excited about our upcoming little joint venture.
I know, it's like we're in bed together. Technically, it's a professional bed, but it's nice.
Hey, whatever works,
For those not in the know, AXS TV is going to be running The Monkees every Friday night starting on April 7th. It's part of Retro Night, and it's just great to have you be part of the AXS TV family. So welcome, Micky.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. As you probably know, I've worked with AXS before in some projects, always very, very successful, and I'm looking forward to seeing the show in what I look like at 20 years old.
Darling and handsome. Tell me about it. But that's what's great about you, Micky, is, listen, we get to see you on the Monkees in age 20, but we get to see you now, and you're still out on the road just killing it because, you're about to hit the road and you're going to be out there for 3 or 4 months straight just playing the hits for everyone. Where do you find the energy?
I guess coffee. I try to keep fit. I keep moving because a moving target's harder to hit. I exercise. I'm really careful about my diet. And as you probably know or have heard, the shows are the easy part. It's the traveling. They pay me to travel. I sing for free.
Mm-hmm.
But, it's what I do. I don't even know how to do anything else except, I guess, make furniture or something.
You touched on the idea of exercise and staying in shape. So what was it like, and what is the secret to escaping rabid female fans?
We had a couple of instances where we had to run, or we had our security people, but I feel blessed to have been part of it and to have had that problem. It's like I feel blessed for the incredible success of that show, but also I acknowledge that there was a whole lot of other people involved and responsible for that.
This is a band that was supported not only by the network, but by the radio and music industry. You had such great success. I think, 3 of your singles went to #1, 2 of which you were the lead singer on. What was it like behind the scenes when a song was presented to the group?
Well, the short story is we had absolutely no control over anything in the early days. And I want to go back and just, if you don't mind, correct a little something you said.
Please, if I got a fact wrong, you tell me I am wrong.
No, it's not facts. It's a common misconception. You said, what was it like when the band was going to record? It was not a band. It was not. We were cast into that television show as you would cast like a Broadway musical. Yeah, our audition process was not just only acting and script reading, but improv and music. You had to be able to sing and play an instrument. My audition piece, for instance, was Johnny Be Good by Chuck Berry. I play it on stage to this day. And I'd been in cover bands before that. David'd been on Broadway and in theater. Michael Nesmith had been a country singer and had groups. So had Peter doing folk music. We'd all had our own separate activities and history, but not as a group until the day we met at a wardrobe fitting, as a matter of fact. And that's when we were basically introduced to each other. So it was the cast of a television show.
Thank you for pointing out. Obviously, I think it's just that then post the show, you guys then as the Monkees became so successful that, it's that chicken and the egg feeling, because at the heart of it, let's be honest, the Monkees as the band, not the TV show, became such a wild, massive success to this day.
Absolutely.
That it's hard to almost separate it because it's like it was in your DNA. You were meant to be.
Absolutely. Well, the producers clearly had the idea that we were going to go on the road because they cast people that could sing and play.
Genius.
Mike Nesmith always used to say, when we finally did go on the road, he said that was like Pinocchio becoming a real little boy.
Oh, that's adorable. That's adorable.
And it's very true.
Now, Micky, you didn't necessarily grow up playing the guitar. This is something you picked up later on, maybe after high school or early college, correct?
Well, what happened was I started out playing guitar when I was a child. I was playing classical guitar, Spanish guitar.
Ooh.
And I loved it. My dad got me into it, and I was taking lessons and playing. That sort of morphed into folk music in the late 50s, early 60s, getting into like Kingston Trio and stuff. Because I would go to parties and in high school, junior high and high school, and I'd bring my guitar because, you know, that's how I got into the parties. And then when I was cast into the Monkees, they said, well, you're going to be the drummer. I said, okay, you know, I play guitar. And they said, we have enough guitar players, so you're going to be the drummer. And I said, fine. And fortunately, I could read music because of my guitar work. Mm-hmm. And I'd been in bands, and I'd sat down and played a little bit behind the kit. And I didn't have to learn the whole pantheon of drum rhythms and tempos and stuff. I just learned what I had to learn to play those songs. And I practiced very, very hard. I practiced for months and months, constantly. And well, that's how that came about. But yeah, I was cast as the drummer, and I said, great, where do I start?
Micky, when you were cast, did this phone call or telegram or word by pigeon, whatever they did back in the 60s, did you know that you would...
No, they chiseled. It was in granite, and then they would bring it by horseback and put it on my lawn, a big granite block. You got the part.
It was a cave painting. No, but truly, did you think I nailed that audition? Because there are approximately 400 people auditioned for the show. So did you leave that room thinking, I've got a really good chance I nailed it? Or did you go out with, as a lot of actors did at the time and still do, you leave going, I could have done better, or I wish I had?
I was going to be an architect. If I couldn't make it as an architect, I would fall back on showbiz. That's something that I knew how to do. And I was doing a little day job in the summer, during summer break. And then the audition came along for the Monkees. I was up for 3 other pilots that year in the pilot season. All music shows, by the way. I got the Monkee pilot. And it wasn't until the series sold, and we got the first order for the first series of 26, that I finally quit school and did the show.
And to think it went from there to then having the first 5 albums go platinum.
You know, like I say, I have always just felt blessed.
Yeah.
You know, to been part of it, and so many other people involved, so many other people to thank. Let's
break it down, right? So you've got the touring Micky, live performance Micky. Then you've got Monkees Micky, you know, TV, you know, working on the film industry, right? And then you have Micky, who did, you know, some of our favorite plays like Grease and Hairspray. 1, 2, 3, rank it. Which do you enjoy most? Performing on stage to a live theater, performing on a stage to a concert crowd, or working in the film industry and doing television and movies? 1, 2, 3.
Great question. It would depend entirely upon the material of that particular project. I would rather be performing in a great musical in London's West End, Hairspray, which I did, than having a lousy part in a crappy TV show. Vice versa, I'd rather be singing on a great album, like I did this recently. I did a wonderful album called Dolenz Sings Nesmith, which were all the tunes of Michael Nesmith that his son Christian produced. I'm very proud of that album, but I'd rather been doing that than acting in a lousy stage play. For me, it's entirely the material that gets me hooked.
You mentioned before we even started this interview something about making furniture. Is that your hobby now?
Oh, I've been doing that all my life, is building stuff.
Because of the architectural background.
An architect, yeah. Even before that, my dad was always very handy and knew how to do all that stuff. Always been around tools, always building stuff. 2 years ago, one of my daughters, who also loved it, we started a little business building, making fine furniture in my garage. And I still have the garage, and I still have all the tools.
Are you one of those guys? So if something breaks around the house, are you going to call a handyman, or are you going to give it your try first? You're going to, like, Micky's going to do it. Back off.
I teach handymen how to do it.
You mentioned your daughter and how she's kind of followed in your footsteps of enjoying the carpentry and working with you in the garage. What did she think of you growing up? Was it cool being a daughter of Micky, or was it hard for her?
I remember one of my daughters when I was in England. She was like 16, and she said, she came home one day and said, "Daddy, this is wrong. Something's wrong." And I said, "What? What?" She said, "Well, I'm 16 years old, and I'm supposed to be rebelling." She said, "All my friends just want to meet you." And she said, "This is wrong. This is weird."
But when it comes to your set list, when you have a song like Last Train to Clarksville and you have I'm a Believer, do you like to put them close together or separate them on opposite ends for the crowd?
Wow, great question. My musical director does set lists, and the short answer is, yeah, you wouldn't do all of your big hits right in a row at any point in the show. To just spread out, but build up, ramp it up a little bit, a little mellow in the middle maybe, and ramp it up at the end. My principle, my theory has always been, I always give the fans all the hits. That goes without saying.
That's the way to go. No way. Everyone wants the hits, man. We show up for the hits. We pay good money.
Yes.
And parking and beer for the hits.
Well, that's a good point, because I actually learned that, or had it reinforced when I was in England. Again, hadn't sung, hadn't done any shows for years and years. And I went to the Everly Brothers reunion at Albert Hall. Big deal. I was a huge Everly Brothers fan. And I remember going with my wife, sitting there in the front row, and I remember wondering before they came on, God, I hope they're going to do Wake Up Little Susie, and all the songs that I remembered so well. And sure enough, they came out and they did them all. I don't even remember if they did other material. All I remember is, as a fan, standing up there with tears rolling down my cheek, going, "Wake up, little Susie. Wake up." And I remember thinking at that point, if I ever am asked to go back on the road and sing those Monkees songs again, and this was years before I did, I'm going to do every single one of them in their entirety as I remember them, so that people can sing along. This particular tour, we're celebrating this album we did called Headquarter, which was distinct in that it was the first album that we were given permission, we were allowed to do on our own. And Mike Nesmith was the one, who kind of led this Palace revolt and said we should get control of some of this, because he was a singer-songwriter. And he had been promised, I'm sure, you're going to sing and write and play your own songs. Well, they lied. And
imagine that, a Hollywood contract gone wrong.
Never thought that would ever happen. And we got the right to make this album. And I'm very, very proud of that album. Just us, singing, playing, everything. It was on the charts for almost a year, 51 weeks on the charts, till it got kicked off by this obscure British group with this album called Sergeant Something. And I don't know,
What a joke band.
I guess if you're going to be kicked out of number one, it might as well be the Beatles.
Awesome. Well, listen, everyone can grab tickets to go see Micky out on the road. The tour starts April 1st and it goes through June 11th. Micky Dolenz out on the road, but you can catch Micky with the Monkees every Friday night on AXS TV at 8:30 Eastern. It's all part of Retro Night. Micky is now part of the AXS TV family officially. Thank you for coming to be part of the gang, man. We appreciate you.
Thank you, Katie. Thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it.
Hey there, thanks for watching AXS TV. Subscribe, follow, like, and do all the good stuff. And make sure you leave a comment below. I don't know, just let us know what your favorite AXS TV show is, or who your favorite bands are, and what artists you're into, or just say hi, man. I like to be told hi. We love hearing from you. That's the point, all right? Keep it coming.